Yay, Sabrina. I am personally so excited that you are here with us in Success with Soul. I actually follow you.
I
I
love that.
enrolled in your newsletter. Yeah, so just a little bit. I am currently the Chief Operating Officer for Kate. However, once upon a time, I was also a photographer with my own photography business.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, I did lifestyle family shoots. And then I transitioned into real estate, which is actually something that I enjoyed immensely. So I was
Wow.
thrilled to have the opportunity to interview you. And
Yay.
so tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, okay. So I have been a lifestyle photographer for almost 12 years, and I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. And so lifestyle photography, it's kind of a buzzword in the industry, but the general population doesn't really know what that means. Basically, I'm not a traditional portrait photographer. I want to come into your home and I want to watch you play with your kids, and I want to see the dogs get crazy, and I want to see snuggling and laughing and just real moments, but leveled up a little bit. Like, we're gonna coordinate outfits and have makeup on and all that kind of stuff. So it's really emotionally driven and moment driven. And I've been doing that for a really long time. I absolutely love it. And for the past 6 years, I've been stepping into the education and coaching space. And I had been dabbling in mentoring for a while, and then COVID happened. And kind of like everybody else, I jumped into the digital education space because what else are we going to do? Since 2020, I have built a course and a mastermind and a membership, and I've really kind of dived into that space and public speaking and everything. And I have absolutely loved fostering that kind of community with other female entrepreneurs and creatives.
I love that. That was actually a segue question, which is like, how do you go from, being a photographer to building a business around mentoring other
Yeah.
photographers? So you kind of mentioned that that was pandemic driven,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I can totally see. I know in my state of Florida, you were not allowed to do photo shoots for a
Right.
long time.
Right.
So how did you decide, okay, well, let me start mentoring other
Yeah.
photographers in the middle of a pandemic?
Yeah. So I had kind of had my eye on that for a few years. And quite frankly, it was one of those things where it was imposter syndrome. Like, who am I to teach and coach? And I didn't used to be a teacher and I don't have an education background. But my heart was there at, attending conferences and attending workshops and learning from others. And I was like, God, I really think I could do that. I really love that. And when everything shut down, a friend actually was like, I think you should take this opportunity to do like an online group coaching thing and just make it like a beta program, just wing it and see what happens. Maybe you won't even enjoy the process, right? And so that's what I did. I put a call out for 10 to 15 women and I asked people to apply, and it was totally free. And I was very honest and upfront. I was like, I want to coach a group of photographers on how to build a successful business or grow their business. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's try it together. And I got so many applications, and I had an incredible group of women come through. And I mean, within weeks of doing it, we were like, yep, this is a thing. I have a heart for this. I'm getting really positive feedback. And so that was it just kind of took off from there. And decided to start making this what I'm going to lean into.
Is that your frustrated to flourishing masterclass?
No, that little masterclass is just something totally different. So the mastermind that I created in 2020, that was like the testing the waters thing, I actually don't run that anymore. The material I taught in that turned into my online course that anybody can sign up for now, which is called the Organized Photographer.
The organized photographer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did your frustrated to flourishing masterclass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so you are one of our thriving incubator clients.
Yeah.
Um, what was your main reason for joining the incubator? Like, what led you to the incubator?
Yeah, I think it was a lot of things. I was one of those people who had followed Kate for a long time and was very intrigued by her and the business that she had built and the things that she offered and things that she was doing, things that she wasn't doing. And then Molly, who is in the incubator as well, Molly and I were online friends before, and she kept pinging in my ear, I think you'd be good for this. I think you should try it. And so then I started getting it from two different directions, and I don't know, just I finally got a stirring in my gut and I was like, I think I do need to try this. This is something totally different than anything else I had invested in. And I'm a huge believer in continued education. I pay for it every single year. And this was so different, but yet so what I needed for where I was taking my business. And so I just decided to jump in.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, what would you say was the biggest risk you've taken or the biggest challenge you've overcome in your business since being in the incubator?
Since being in the incubator, I will tell you, going from the photography space to the education space is really hard. Not that that's not a natural progression, because it is, especially when you've been in the industry for so long. But the fact that I still actively take clients and I still actively shoot and work as a photographer, but I'm also over here marketing this other thing is hard as far as Google and the internet and SEO. I'm kind of confusing because I am serving two different things under one umbrella. And so working through that, being able to ask questions about, well, how am I going to do this? And how should I do this? And SEO and websites and funnels and all of that. And kind of getting a clear plan for how I can do both and how I can speak to two different audiences. That has been invaluable. Absolutely.
Oh, I actually was going to ask you that because of course, I went to your website and I saw that you could still book sessions. So I was definitely a little confused, like, oh, you're
Yeah.
still working as a
Yeah.
photographer.
Yeah.
And how you find the time to do this, I don't know. You are a Wonder Woman. That is
Oh.
amazing. And your photography is amazing too.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
yeah.
It's definitely a balance. I have a very particular schedule of how many sessions I can take because I am balancing the education piece, and there's all these other things going on. But I personally like to learn from people who are still actively doing the thing that they're teaching, and so I want to be that as well. Not to mention, I still love doing it. My heart is still very much in it. It fills a creative void. And so I'm not ready to step away from that yet. So I really am 50-50 right now in my business when you look at my numbers and where I spend my time.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that too. I definitely love that Kate is a blogger as
Yeah,
well, and that she does a podcast as well. Like she is
exactly.
doing everything that she's teaching inside
Exactly.
the incubator, which I love. So, what immediate impact did being inside the incubator would you say that you've had on your business or the biggest impact?
Yeah. I would say, I mean, the community aspect is forever and always going to be my number one thing.
Oh,
Having a peer group of women who are not necessarily in the same industry you are, but are very much in the same season of life. We all have the same passion, underlying passion. We all want to do things differently. We're all willing to put in the work to build something that not only serves ourselves and our families, but our communities. I mean, just having a group of like minded peers to be able to ask those tough questions and complain when things go wrong and celebrate when things go right, and ask not only the technical questions of, hey, how do you do this one thing? I'm stuck, but also, being able to tell stories and just the community of understanding, because I can talk to my friends about business and all that, and they, can nod and shake their head and say, that sounds exciting, but they have no idea, right? They have no idea. So that community aspect, being able to step into the incubator and immediately be welcomed with open arms, immediately have a cheering squad, immediately have people sending Voxer messages and emails and chat stuff through the Zoom calls, supporting. I mean, that is invaluable right there. Just to be able to walk into a new group and they're like, come on, come with us, let's do it.
Oh, I love that. There is definitely so much power in that, to be in that kind of community where everyone is there to support you and
Mhm.
literally wants to see you succeed. And
Yep.
there's definitely something to be said about that. So, how has your relationship to your business changed over the last 6 to 12 months? So, like, for example, do you spend less time on social media? Do you get more organic traffic now? I know that you just recently sent out a newsletter. It was your children are going into middle and high school, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, and it was the first day of school a couple days ago,
Yep.
and you gave yourself the grace to take the day off.
Yep.
And I love that. That to me is very Kate inspired, of like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take the day and that's
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know, like, how has your relationship to your business changed being inside
Yeah.
the incubator?
So, Kate and I are very similar personality types. We're both Enneagram threes. We both have our hands in a lot of different things. We both are very work driven, but also like really into the self care and the holistic thing. We're so two peas in a pod, and which is great because she relates to me. She understands. She can call me out because she's gone ahead of me. And one of the things that I really struggled with before starting the incubator was really really almost, I wasn't intentionally doing this, but there would be times when, I'd be right before a launch or preparing something, and I would get so wrapped up in the details and the success of it. And what if it's running late? What if it's not perfect? What if it's that kind of thing? Because Enneagram threes really tend to get their identity wrapped up in their work and their I don't know what they put out in the world. And she told me, and this is not from her, but she passed it on. I don't know where she heard it, but she said, you have to remember that we are not in the business of creating oxygen.
Oh,
And she's like, literally everything you're doing is okay if it fails. Number one, it's okay if it breaks. It's okay if it's late. It's okay if it's not perfect. It's okay if it has to be redone. Nothing we're doing is an emergency. It's not life or death. And that was huge for me. I literally say that to myself probably 3 or 4 times a week. Um, Especially if I'm not meeting a deadline or I'm bummed that something's not working out the way I thought it was or whatever. I just remind myself, like, I am not creating oxygen. I am doing my best, and that is enough, and that is okay.
I absolutely love that. We say that at Team KK all the time. We have to
Yeah.
remind ourselves that
Yes.
that's definitely something that we've learned from Run Like Clockwork,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that, as you know, we use in our business. And so I'm wondering, like, one of the things that we really teach y'all inside the incubator is to like systematize your business.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how is your business in that regard? Are you a solopreneur? Do you have a team? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So coming into the incubator, I already had an assistant. She handles the photography side of my business. So the contracts, the invoicing, all of that kind of stuff with clients. And I've had her for a few years. I also really believe in giving tasks away because I know that I can't do it all. So, I already have help around the house and I have childcare help in the summer. And as far as editing is concerned, photographers know that is a time consuming thing. I have outsourced my editing for years. But coming into the incubator, it's been looking for ways to hand off tasks in the education side of my business, because that does feel very personal and like I'm the one educating. So I'm the one that needs to, like it needs to be in my voice and my hands need to be on everything. And that's absolutely not true. So since being in the incubator, I have handed off some of my blog writing, which has been really great. I have handed off some technical tasks, like to a technical VA, which has been wonderful. And I am starting a podcast very soon, and I've already hired and taken on a podcast producer. And even though that's just not making me any money yet, I know that I cannot manage that. And so I've already brought her on, and I'm really excited about the help that she's going to bring for that. So,
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Did you
yeah.
want to share with us here what your podcast is going to
Sure.
be?
Yeah. So it's going to be called the Shoot It Straight podcast. And we are recording this from the date that we're recording this. It should be live in a couple of weeks, early September. And it is driven for creative entrepreneurs, and it's for sure going to have some practical things and business things and all of that, but it's going to be really heart based, because I believe that when we work on our heart and we go deep, when you better yourself, you better your business. And so it is going to be teaching from me, and then also conversations with other creatives about the hard stuff, being an entrepreneur, burnout and overwhelm and depression and struggles and pivoting and that kind of stuff. Like, nothing's off the table. So I'm really, really excited about it.
Oh, I'm excited too. I love podcasts. And so I'm sure you'll announce it in the newsletter. So I can't
Yeah.
wait to hear all about that. So, if you could use one word to describe your experience inside of the incubator, what would that be?
Mm. Um, I already said it, but probably community. I think that is the overarching, most beautiful part of it. And I know that's not necessarily maybe it is a selling feature for some people. But I think it's one of those things where you might sign up because you get all these lessons on different topics. You might sign up because of the guest educators. You might sign up because of access to funnels and all these beautiful things that are very, very valuable. But when you get in there, it is all valuable and you will put it all to use, but nothing will beat the community. Nothing, hands down.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. I know Kate would be thrilled that you said that. So I'm so excited that you are part of the incubator. I'm excited that the other incubator clients get to benefit from you as well, to have
Mm.
you in the community. And I'm thrilled that I got to interview you because I am a fan of yours. So now we've come to my favorite part of the podcast, which is the lightning round.
Okay.
And it's just 5 questions that we ask all our guests. Don't
Okay.
overthink it, just
Okay.
whatever comes to mind. So you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Great. Okay, so what's your favorite way to make time for self-care while running your own business?
Okay. So I mentioned earlier, I do all the self care. So that's not hard for me. I love it. It's necessary. And this is going to sound counterintuitive, but this is what came to my mind. I do 2 to 3 times a year. I will check into a hotel for a working weekend where I am no distractions. And I know you're like, that's not self care, but being able to knock out a project without mom guilt, without guilt about not doing things at home, is wonderful. And on the back end of that, I come home and I am free of the stress of whatever I was doing. I'm super hyper present. I sleep better. I rest better. I'm not stressed. I'm there for my kids. And so it ends up being this really great gift. And I actually love doing it,
That
so.
sounds pretty amazing. I actually
So,
know people that do that on flights.
oh yeah, that's great too.
Yeah, that's I love that.
Yeah.
So, what is one tool or strategy like, the Eisenhower matrix or the cycle syncing that we use
Mhm.
inside the incubator
Mhm.
that you use to help with time management?
Yeah. I love batching, especially writing and social media. Anything that's word driven really for my brain works really well in batching. But when I batch, I use the Focus Keeper app. I think it's a free app, and it's a 25-minute on, 5-minute off, just a timer. And it's just a visual thing that you can put on your screen, turn all your notifications off, and it allows you to really dig in and get into flow in whatever you're doing.
25/5. Love it.
Yeah.
I have to check that app out.
Yeah, it's great.
What's the most powerful business mindset entrepreneurial book that you've ever read, the one that
Mhm,
you reference
mhm.
again and again and has made the biggest difference in your life?
Yeah, that changes depending on the season or the year, where you are. But
Yes,
currently, my favorite is We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. I love that book so much.
me too.
It's so good on so many levels. It's real talk, it's real stories, it's practical, it's mindset, it's all the things. So that's my current favorite right now.
Yes, love it. Love her. She is amazing. Love that book. So, as far as like mindset, what's your favorite quote, mantra, affirmation for when things get tough and you feel like giving up?
Yeah, well, I say what Kate says, right? I really do say that to myself a lot, that I am not in the business of creating oxygen. But something different is I tell myself a lot, trust the process. Trust that I am where I'm supposed to be, making the mistakes or the progress that I'm supposed to make, and that I am moving forward. Just trusting the process.
I love that. Something that we say a lot in Team KK also is failure is feedback.
Yeah,
Without it, you just won't know, what to do next. So
right.
we welcome it.
Yeah.
And then finally, what does success with soul mean to you?
I think it's being brave enough to build a business that strives toward your personal definition of success. What is success for you personally, for your family, for your life, without paying attention to what everybody else is doing? Being brave enough to say, you know what? I don't want that. I want this over here.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Sabrina, I love this so much. Please let our audience know where they can find you.
Yeah. My website is sabrinagebhardt.com. It's kind of hard to spell. I'm sure you'll have that link in the show notes. And then on Instagram, I spend a lot of time there and get really personal. Love that space. So I'm at Sabrina Gebhardt Photography. And I do Q&As and all kinds of fun stuff. So I try and keep it fun over there.
Great. And where is the podcast again
Yeah,
going to
so
be?
it will be sabrinagebhardt.com/podcast.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great. Sabrina, it was a pleasure being with you today. Thank you
Yes.
so much for sharing with us what your experience has been inside the incubator. And I know I personally cannot wait to hear your podcast.
Thank you, friend. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Okay, let me just go ahead. Sorry
No,
about that.
you're good.
Let me just stop the